G'day everybody, my name is Elliot Waters and you're listening to the Dysregulated podcast. As always, thank you for tuning in. Today's episode is the next instalment of the Fortnightly Check-In series where we find out right here, right now, how I have been travelling over the last week to 2 weeks. So you may have noticed that I haven't produced as many episodes lately as I normally would. So if you remember back to the episode New Year, New Me, I touch on the relationship between my mood and podcast episode output. So basically, if things are going good and my mood's going well, we are producing episodes. If things are not going so good, the episode output level diminishes, and unfortunately that has been the story over the last fortnight. So this episode is going to be really quick because I just need to get something out there so I can feel good about the fact that I got something out there. So a nice quick little episode, and I promise the next one will be a lot longer and a lot more in depth, and we'll get back to our winning ways. But anyway, so the last 2 weeks has been very stressful. If I had to describe it with a word, stressful is the word. And that's because there are two big changes coming up on my horizon when I look forwards. And I'm not going to say exactly what they are just yet because I don't want to jinx things, but I will say it's got something to do with employment and it's also got something to do with my living arrangements. Now, really, I should be excited about these changes that are headed my way because these two changes are things that I really, really want to happen. But unfortunately, in true Elliot style, anxiety, apprehension, that sort of negative emotion has been a real feature of my presentation over the last 2 weeks. So it's been a very difficult 2 weeks. I'm just trying to manage as best that I can and trying to keep my head down, do all the right things, and hopefully soon enough this sort of cloud that's hovering over me will go away. That would be amazing. But it hasn't all been bad news. Last week I went to Port Macquarie on the mid-north coast of New South Wales and did a presentation on behalf of the Black Dog Institute to some mental health workers and volunteers from Lifeline and also an organisation called Standby Support After Suicide. And it was really, really good. A great audience of like-minded people. I love talking to people that think very similar in the way that I do. So if you're one of those listeners who was in the audience that day, a big thank you for the support on the day. Thank you for listening to the podcast. I really do appreciate it. I remember though, one of the big features of this presentation was my inner critic just would not be quiet, just would not shut up. It just kept telling me, you're not getting your message out there, you're not using enough eye contact, your story isn't colourful or vivid enough for people to really engage with it. And it's really good that the feedback after it was so positive so I can really push that inner critic back in its corner. In fact, yesterday I got an email with some feedback and I'm going to say it on the show because I'm quite proud of this. So I'll just read out a little bit of it right now and it goes something like this. Elliot was absolutely fabulous and it was a really special morning on Friday. The audience absolutely lapped up Elliot's presentation. Some were in tears of admiration and others said they felt like he had opened their head up and looked into their minds. I don't think I've ever seen an audience so riveted and with so many questions afterwards. So feedback like that is really important for me because, as I said, it's evidence that I can use against my inner critic to put it back into its place. Because unfortunately lately, over the last fortnight, along with the anxiety sort of creeping up on me, the inner critic's voice has also got that little bit louder and that little bit stronger, and I really need to try and push back. And having evidence such as that really goes a long way to putting it back in its place. Also, over the last 2 weeks, I had a psychiatry appointment. So you may remember I've been prescribed pregabalin or Lyrica for anxiety. Initially, it was 25 milligrams at night. That's now been bumped up to 25 milligrams twice a day, although this is still a level that isn't really enough to do much about the anxiety. But the real point of the exercise at the moment is to see how I respond to the medication, if there's any side effects. So although we're not in the dosage zone for big improvements to my anxiety, we are taking it slow to make sure that it doesn't make things worse, which I think is really, really good. But the other thing my psychiatrist said was that he used this analogy of a car and he said, Elliot, you're driving around with your high beams on looking way into the future, or you're looking in your rear vision mirror and looking at things that have been and gone. You're not looking out in front at the potholes that are right in front of you. You need to get grounded and be able to live life as it presents itself in the now, in the here and now. And it's great great metaphor or analogy because it really resonated with me, and it's so true. I'm either living, all this distance into the future that's all catastrophe, even though there's no evidence that that's actually the case. But, this is how these disorders work. Or I'm living in the past, ruminating on mistakes that have been and gone. They're gone, Yeah, maybe things could have been done better, but that's in the past now. We're in the here and now. Let's make sure we make good decisions right here, right now. And to do that, we need to be mindful. So he said to me, Elliot, you've got ADHD, so your attention's not very good and you're all wound up because you're anxious. So let's just aim for 5 seconds at a time. When you drift off into the future too far ahead or you're living in the past, aim for 5 seconds to try and ground yourself. That's all. We're starting slow, small steps. So that has been something I've been trying to work on. I bought a little bouncy ball. So whenever I find that I'm drifting too far forwards or too far back, I bounce this ball 5 times and really focus on the process of bouncing this ball, what it sounds like, what it feels like, all that sort of stuff, and really being focused on the present. So that's something that I'm really working on at the moment because unfortunately, over the last fortnight, I have been living way into the future. There's all these catastrophes going on, even though in the here and now, there's no evidence that that is what's going to eventuate. It's been very frustrating, but hopefully, if I keep bouncing this ball, things will improve because this exercise is like any exercise or skill. The more you do it, the better you become. And if you can get lots of these 5-second little patches throughout the day, if they start to link up, all of a sudden we're living in the here and now. We're making good decisions about what's actually in front of us, and our quality of life will improve as a result. So there you go. All right, well, that's enough for me because I really just need to get that episode out, and I've done that, so I'm very proud of that. If you were one of the people in the audience at Port Macquarie and you're now listening to the show, a big special welcome to you. Thank you for the support on the day, and thank you for supporting the podcast. I really do appreciate it. And until next time, everybody, I hope you are well, and I'll see you later.